Takari Tatum. He's now reached tens of thousands of people, and he's just getting started.
And a Cobb County fifth grader who's starting a powerful conversation.
There is a mental health counselor who is really making a difference, and he's only 10 years old.
He's brilliant.
A good listener.
He's very humble.
He inspires grown-ups.
Just a real, genuine, special kid.
Takari has a passion for his purpose.
He is one unique individual with an imagination that is just over and beyond.
My name is Takari Tatum, and this is my story.
Growing up, he was very eager. He got into things, but at the same time, he got into them to learn it. At 9 months old, he was playing on the computer. He played Angry Birds. He had a pacifier in his mouth, playing Angry Birds on the computer with a mouse. Who does that? He's the same age. He was trying to stand up and go up the stairs. He was helping people with remotes. He helped his grandma before trying to fix a remote around that age. I knew he was going to be gifted, but I didn't know it was going to go to this level. But I saw the potential when he was younger.
I love my family a lot, and they're like my sole providers. And I feel like my family are the main people that I can go to whenever I have an issue. And you know, they're people I can laugh and joke around with. And they're also people who will give me the criticisms that I need to become my better self.
Takari is my first and only grandson, so I am a proud grandmother. I get to say yes when I had to say no to 3 other children. I get to spoil him. The other kids push Takari up to me. Can we have McDonald's? Can we have this? And you guys say no to Takari, and I can't. So he's just my heart. I just love him so much. From the minute I saw him being born, I knew that this boy was not going to be a statistic, that I was going to do anything in my power to make him successful. When Takari was born, it was in December. So he was little, his mother was on maternity leave, so she was here, everybody was kind of in the house. Then the summer came and everybody was home. Then it came to get ready to go back to work in the school, because I was a school teacher. And my husband had just retired that year. So it was him and Takari and my husband all the time together. The boys would come home and have to go to football practice or baseball practice or something. He would always have to take them because I was at work, and Takari would be with them. And so that's how they became the best of friends. They were just always together.
His grandfather influenced him really by part of his humor. Was always wanted to be around him. He always wanted to be around his grandfather. Just the playfulness, soul that he has, and the empathy that he has for other people, I feel like that contributed from his grandfather.
One memory that I have with him, I feel like I was 3 or 4 years old. It was one of my earliest memories, was when I was sitting at a restaurant eating ice cream and just in his arms and just feeling comforted just because he was there. And I feel like he's one of the biggest reasons I am who I am today, because I've met him and because he was a very big part of my life.
I witnessed it. We all was home except for my younger brother, Theo. He was at basketball practice. He passed away here in the house. So we had to the coroners came and took him out, and we all had a final goodbye to him before he left and went in the van.
I feel like I just was stagnant. Like all I was doing was just laying in my room, then I'll get up to grab something to eat, take a bath, go to sleep, go to school, and just that cycled over and over. And I felt like I wasn't really getting anywhere in my life where I was going at that certain point.
With him not having the words as a child to say exactly how he felt, we kind of had to just look at the way he acted and more to see if he was okay or not. And that's where we would see, you know, him not being as extroverted as he was, not talking as much as he was. And so we said, okay, maybe he needs to talk more about it. So between me and his dad and his uncles, we tried to get him through that like that. But that was a tough one.
When his grandpa died, he was behaving a little differently. Like he wasn't acting himself, and like we all noticed.
I feel like when he passed, I didn't only lose my grandfather, but I also lost my best friend. I did not know what to do. Like I was just sitting in my room like, what's next? Like my grandfather's really gone. After I went back to school for like a week, I was like, something has to change because there's no way that there's actually people who feel like this every single day because of passing. And so I decided to make snap-it bracelets. My teacher, my gifted teacher, she really made me the intelligent and well-rounded person I am. In class, she said, like, find things that you wouldn't usually do. Like, in 4th grade, I wasn't really making rubber band bracelets as I did as much. And I just saw him in the corner of my room, and I was like, this might be a good idea.
My reaction was, oh, yeah, he's motivated. I want to see how far he's going to take it. Did not ever think we would make it this far, but knew the motivation was there.
I used to tell him when I was in middle school and even high school, you'll see me with just regular rubber bands, and I would just snap it. I would just do this just to calm me down, but we didn't have a name for it, so I told him about that, and put a spin on it.
So usually, like when I make them, I just just put them together. I'm gonna do a special for you. I loved making rubber band bracelets. I had a whole loom where I would just put together rubber band bracelets all day and just find it very comforting and relaxing. And I always found it cool how all the little parts intertwine to make something big. And I really related that to what I was doing. That's pretty much like the first month or two that I started it, I just thought of it as a community service project. And at the end of the project that my teacher gave, she gave us prizes, and I was like, oh, this is the end. But it just kept going.
And his name is information if you want another sacrifice, please use my information. So
our goal was to pass out 1,000 bracelets, and I sent some to my family in New York and to my friends at school, and I was just trying to pass out as many as I can so we could get to 1,000, and that's what I thought it was going to be over, and we were going to be done with it. And then all of a sudden I said, you know what, Takari, as young as you are, and this has helped you, why don't we reach out and see if this can help anybody else? And that's when I found NAMI.
What I loved about his approach and what I just love about Takari is that he has a lived personal experience, and everything he is doing is all based on his lived experience. And that is something that is really supported by NAMI in the work that we do, that the people who are experiencing mental health are the best people to help other people with mental health. They totally supported the idea of this young 9-year-old talking about mental health, because that's what they do. National Alliance for Mental Illness is what NAMI stands for. NAMI Walks is one of the largest grassroots walks for mental health in the nation. We have probably over 600 walks across the nation each year, and it's to raise awareness and funds to support mental health. Takari's mom reached out to me via email, and I invited her and her son and her family to the walk. And that's where we ended up meeting Takari for the very first time.
They asked him to come to their headquarters. They talked to him. They supported him when he went out on events. They had a mental health day where they invited Kari in and did a photo shoot for him, so they could put his picture on NAMI posters and things like that.
So NAMI Georgia every year has a Young Leader Award, and Takari won that award for us a couple of years ago. So that's one thing that we do. We want to recognize young adults who are really being mental health heroes in our communities and raising their voice and talking about it and breaking the stigma of mental health. The suicide rates and the number of children who are experiencing mental health at this time is incredible. We have to do something. Takari, with his wristbands, gave us a healthy way to recognize mental illness and to address it in a way that can help snap you out of it.
When we decided that he wanted to make this a business, it was me, Takari, and Theo. And we sat down and we said, what can we do the business as? So we had all different names. So we said, we'll do it the rubber band mentality, because Kari said that everybody should be flexible like a rubber band. So we said, okay, now if we're gonna do this, we're gonna need some money. So we started a GoFundMe. And people started donating for us from GoFundMes, and we was using that money to buy rubber bands and sending them like all over the place. And because we had been a captain for the NAMI walk, so a lot of people had seen them there, so they were all coming onto our website saying, can you send me 5 bands? Can you send me 25 bands? Can you send me? So that's what we were using the money for, to buy the bands and use for postage.
The most inspirational about it was whenever we would make rubber bands together, and it just like helped through like COVID, and it would just be like how inspirational it would be to hear other people's stories. And I just feel like that's like a skill part of it.
He shared with us all, as he went through each level, he shared with us about the bracelets. They made the bracelets in class. He taught the story in class. We just were part of most every part of it.
I thought it was actually really cool, and I was going to reach out and do things that related to his personal things that he had going on. I thought it was cool that he was like people branch out about how they felt about it. It's cool to know that, like, hey, my friend's doing something that's good for the world, and I get to be part of that change.
Many people like have been inspired, and like they think of him as like, oh wow, like he's actually made a difference. Anytime people are going through something hard, like they want to think about that, like, oh, I could just snap it, and then that's a reminder.
Ever since I started it, I feel like a lot of people have been like gravitating more to talking about mental health, because I feel like in 3rd, 4th grade, nobody didn't even know what mental health was. And I feel like now that I started what I started, I feel like now people are actually saying, hey, mental health is actually a big thing, and like they're really like talking about it. And it just makes me happy.
Honored to share this platform with you, Takari, and I would be honored. I'm the president of Eastern Nazarene College, and I'd be honored if you were a student at Eastern Nazarene College in about 8 years. To help make that happen, I would like to offer you a full tuition scholarship to Eastern Nazarene College.
We, the Cobb County Board of Commissioners, do hereby salute the efforts of Takari Tatum to offer relief to those suffering through stress and mental health issues. His work at such a young age is an inspiration to all and will impact our community for decades to come.
The community has responded pretty positively and pretty generously. Almost every time I go out for an event, there's somebody who I meet at the event who contacts me about another event. And then while I'm at that event, another event contacts me, and you know, it's just like a big snowball that's rolling down the hill, getting bigger and bigger. And anytime you feel stressed or anxious, you snap it like this. Remind yourself to breathe. Oh, okay.
Oh, they're different colors. Oh, cool. I like it. Gosh, you got one.
Do you like it?
Keep you from biting your fingernails. Yes.
His voice and using what he's doing, you should see when he walks up to people and he tells them about the bracelets. They just light up, and it just brings a different awareness to mental health. You know, when you have a 9 to 13-year-old kid coming up to you and talking about mental health, you can't be embarrassed about that or think poorly about it, especially with his positive attitude. So I think the impact that he is having is the raising of awareness and making people just have a different outlook on mental health and having a more positive outlook on mental health. And as we talked about, a more positive way to approach mental health when you are experiencing it.
So these are snap-it bracelets, and anytime you feel stressed or anxious, you snap it to remind yourself to stay cool, calm, and collected. Oh, good. Thank you. Have a nice day. You too. And anytime you feel stressed or anxious, you snap it to remind yourself to stay cool, calm, and collected. Some discouragement that I've experienced was going into middle school. That's when I really first started seriously getting into music, and then I seriously got into my business, and then I had 7 classes a day to worry about and all that homework and things like that. And that's when I really just thought about quitting music, quitting business, and only focusing on school. Then I realized that there's gonna be moments where you think that you can't do it, but just to always remember that it's okay not to be okay.
It was an event that we had to do. It was downtown Powder Springs, and we had no bracelets. All hands on deck, everybody had to do bracelets, and he was getting irritated, upset, because it's late now, it's like 1 or 2, and he was saying to me that, you know, this is not just about me, this is for people that we're giving it to. So that's how he kept going, and we finished like at 3 in the morning.
So my relationship with Takari is a unique one. I met him in a park, and I met him because I left the hospital with my husband, who was in the hospital. Takari was there, and I gave him $20 for his bracelet. So that was it. And he had no idea the impact that his bracelet was gonna have on myself and my husband. My husband was diagnosed with cancer, with stage 4 cancer. By the time they got to him, by the time he was diagnosed, he was so far gone, it was all over his body. I met Takari 14 days before my husband passed away. So I took the bracelet and I put it on my husband's wrist while he was in the hospital the whole time. And it was a way where it was like we were channeling each other. So that whole snap it, I told my husband, just snap it when you feel like you're gonna lose it. Just snap it. I can sense you, just snap it. So he kept snapping it, and when I went to see my husband, he said, did you feel me, baby? Did you feel me? I was like, yes, I felt you. Because I would do the same thing. When I felt choked up, I would just snap it. It was just what we did. For 14 days we did that. And then when he passed away, I put the bracelet back on him and I buried him with it.
I feel like God works in extraordinary ways. And I think he can use this in other people's lives like he used it in Mac's life, where all she had to do was walk up to my booth and take 2 bracelets, and it formed this amazing relationship. And I feel like stuff like that is just gonna keep on happening to other people and just really spread the word on how mental health is important.
It was a coping mechanism for myself and for my husband, and Takari had no idea that happened. That's what we were doing with it. I saw Takari maybe months later, and then I shared the story with him. And I sent him pictures of my husband and I with our wrists next to each other and the bracelet on.
this time by sharing the story of a 5th grader who published a book on mental health.
Takari's book is going to soon help students all over the country.
So Takari wrote a book. It's called Snap It, based on his own experience with loss and mental health struggles.
So one day he sat down and he started writing a story about his grandfather and how he loved him and the different things they did and how he felt. And I said, well, you know, we're going to incorporate the bracelets into it. This book is about anxiety and stress. That's how Snap It came up.
I kind of followed the project and knew what he was doing, and I'm very interested in emotional health, that getting through situations where you're stressed, and so I was like, yes, absolutely, I'll do it. I did all the sketches for the book, and you know, then seeing it when it was all done, wow, we collaborated, and it just turned out so well.
Takari was very involved in the editing process, how we came about the illustrations and how real they are today, to tell the story in picture form. We always say that a picture is worth 1,000 words. And he was developing into an assertive author by the time we got to his 2nd book, because he was kind of sharing the thoughts.
He was doing an interview with 11 Alive at the Bookworm, and they said, well, Takari, you have your 1st book out, you know there's got to be a 2nd, so what are you going to write about? So he said, I think I'm going to write about the anxiety when you go through a code red drill. And what surprised me was that when we go to events, kids know what a code drill is, parents do not. And so they were like, code red, you mean a fire drill? And I was like, no, code red drill is active shooting drill. And so I see him now educating older people, because we didn't have code red drills.
Seeing the book and having it in my hands and sharing it, his story much more so than my pictures, my ideas, but that's kind of cool too.
When I grow up, I want to be a meteorologist. The foreword of the book was also written by the head meteorologist of 11 Alive, Chesley McNeil.
This book reminds us that sometimes even in our grief, we can do things that will change the world.
Yeah, and he's already starting at a very young age. Meteorologist will be much more than that. He already is.
Takari, join me, and I'll let you stand right there. There you go, and tell the folks how hot it's going to be.
Hello, New York.
With the rubber band mentality, my proudest moment was him going to New York to see Gayle King and Cindy Shu. To go to the big city, the Big Apple, I'm like, oh, we made it now. Like that was cool to see.
I want to share that he's evolved. I've watched him evolve. So that has been an incredible thing, and I can't wait to see what's next for Takari Tatum.
So you already have my 1st one, and this is my 2nd one, which is about like code red drills, how it can impact like people who have like past trauma.
Okay. And it's called Code Red?
Yeah, Snap It, it's a code red. Mm-hmm.
I feel like it helps me like understand music-wise, like what's going on, like what music-wise I have to do to become, like, to actually feel the music.
The role that music plays in helping kids express their emotions. Music is another language. So it's one at which we all understand and can communicate freely through. For the kids, they have a space to do that, to work on music and just getting to know themselves and others.
When it comes down to relaxation and then removing stress from your life, turn on some music. And what you find is that it becomes an instrument to every aspect of your inner being. I'm pretty sure that he uses it as an opportunity to escape and find privacy in the area of just relaxing and enjoying putting patterns together and make beautiful sounds so that he can find himself at peace as often as he needs to.
He has like great motivation. And so he gave me a tip before you go to school, like in the morning before you go to school, practice for 5 minutes, come back from school, practice for 10 minutes. Your homework, practice for 5 minutes. That's 20 minutes every day right there. That's a very good tip. So just the tips, like him using like being wise and, you know, with motivation, because how in the world do you create 10,000 bracelets?
I think the message that he's sending out there is that no matter how young you are, that you can in any way make a difference. Because the thing with this is that he has this book and he gives it to a kid that's maybe gone through something like this. That kid reads it. And then, or maybe he meets Takari while he's getting the book to sign, and then Takari can answer his questions, and the kid might ask him, hey, how did you get through this? And Takari can say, well, God got me through this. And also the things I've written in this book have gotten me through it. And if that can just change one life, you know, that's what Jesus is all about, leaving the 99 for the one.
I believe God has placed special gifts and special things inside of Takari, and then specifically on the anxiety thing and depression thing. And so Takari has had to grow up in a world that looks like that, different from a world that I grew up in. And so when I think about that, I think God put Takari on this earth for such a time as this in order for those gifts to be used now.
How many of you know nothing like this just happens accidentally? There's some parents that made a decision that they're going to get behind their son with some challenges he was working through. And this is what God did.
Takari's thing, when you really think about it, what he's doing, it's really simple. It's just a bracelet on your arm and a book. And I think that's kind of what he is reminding a lot of people with this, is that something so simple can impact a community so hard.
Takari has a passion for his purpose. And as long as he continues in that manner, he's going to do great things.
It always took one person who was willing to step out and just be that person. And that's kind of, for me, what I see Takari doing for the youth of our nation.
He has lots of talents that he's taking in so many directions, taking this project along with it, i.e. music, i.e. being in plays. So he has a bright future ahead.
When I saw him and when I started being friends with him, I never thought it would come to this. Once you really think about it, that's cool. And it's like, having a friend like that is cool.
Takari Tatum is here in Powder Springs forever, and so that is just amazing to me. And so knowing that the rest of the world can know that, you know what I'm saying, the rubber band mentality is coming near you soon, so.
I'm so proud to be Takari's grandma.
I am so proud to be Takari's father.
Just because you're young doesn't mean you can't do what your heart desires. You can do whatever you put your mind to, no matter what anybody else says.